How do I know if the law of assumption is working? Well, listen on and I shall tell you more. Manifest mindset with me. Hello and welcome to Manifest Mindset by Affirm Afform Attract. Your place to come to when you need tips and advice when manifesting. We are an affirmation channel and you can find all our affirmation videos on YouTube. Hello and welcome back everybody. How are you doing? I'm going to be talking about a law of assumption and how do we know when it's working. And the simple way to know is to just look at your life. Look at where you are and then look at where you want to be. And where you are is the result of the assumption that you have about yourself. Now, if you don't know, law of assumption is that you assume that you already have it or you're already doing it, depending on what your manifestation is. So, for example, I want to be a successful business person, have my own business, whether it's a shop or service business or working from home. Now, it doesn't mean when you get up in the morning that you're going to magically have your business there working up and running and all the money's going to be trickling in with an instant. No. But what you do need to do is get up and you act as if. So, what time do you get up? What do you do in the morning? How does your day look? What work? How many hours you're going to work towards your business? Now, if you're getting up and you're slumping and you're moaning in your head and you're feeling miserable and you're dragging your heels, that isn't someone who believes that they will get a successful business or even a business. That is someone who is living their life as if that they are unsuccessful, they are miserable, and they feel as though that nothing is going to work for them. What I'm saying is that as you are is what you perceive yourself to be and to always be. In your head, you may want something, but if in the present, in the now, you don't start acting or start doing the things that you need to do, you are always going to be or do the things that you don't want. So what you're doing essentially is you're just assuming a life that you don't want. And as long as you keep assuming the life that you don't want, that is the life that you are going to manifest. And for you to change things around, you need to start assuming the life that you do want. You need to see what that looks like and act accordingly. If you have a 9-to-5 job, okay, you have to go to work. Is there room for you to get up a bit earlier and do some stuff to work on your business? If there isn't, that's fine. Don't panic. Don't let that disrupt you. You go to work, you leave work, you come home, you have your meal, you see to your family, and you set aside a few hours every single night to work on your business. It could be an hour, it could be 2. If you did that 5 days a week, not counting weekends, just 5 days a week, that's 5 hours you get to work on your business. If you could do an hour and a half or 2 hours, that's 10 hours a week to work on your business. And with something like that, you can then go and divide those 10 hours up. You can say, right, Monday, I'm going to research this. Tuesday, I'm going to work on the logo. Wednesday, I'm going to work on this. Now, clearly, I'm giving an example for someone who wants to start their own business, no matter how big or small. But the examples I'm giving you is that you're finding a focus. You've broken down your business. You're finding out what you need to work on, essentially, before you start getting in the clients or whatever it is. And when you're doing that, By doing the action alone, you are making an assumption that you are going to have a business of your own. See, once you start putting the action in, then already you're making the assumption. So, for example, I'm doing my podcast, you're listening to my podcast. And by me taking action of doing my logo, what I was going to call, I'm making the assumption I'm going to have a podcast. And I know that's not the same as having a successful podcast, but at least you're halfway there, because you can't have a success at anything until you even start a thing. Now, if we are going to then look at the success of a thing that we want, then that's when thought, visualization, affirmations come in handy. Listen on to find out more. So in part one, no, just before the break, we've talked about you taking action on the thing that you want to manifest. I've just used business as an example. Now, starting a business, like I said before, doesn't guarantee that it's going to be successful, but at least you're on the way to be having a successful business just by starting it. By working on it, you've made the assumption that you're going to have a business. Now, when it comes to having a successful business, yes, there's many elements, like the marketing, all the other little bits that come with it. We all know that. However, when you want to use manifestation towards it, that's when the thought process, the visualization will take over. So whilst you're still doing the action part of it, you can say affirmations to assume, oh, I'm so happy and grateful that I really have a successful business. I have a 100,000 valued business or 200,000 valued business. Oh, my business turns over 3,000 pounds a month or 10,000 pounds a month or 15k a month, whatever it is. So while you're working on your business, you're at the very root of it, you're just starting out, you're doing your website, you're doing your emails, you're doing whatever you need to do. You can always start to affirm that you already have a successful business. Saying it and believing it. It doesn't matter if you was doing something and it went wrong. It doesn't matter if you done something and it didn't save and it went wrong. What you do is you say, oh well, you just rectify it and then you just continue. Because as you're going through life and you're trying to manifest, there is nothing written that will say absolutely nothing will go wrong. It's just life. There's so many cogs turning in life in general. But the main focus is that you focus on what you want, and whatever problems come at hand, you're able to deal with it. This isn't a result of or a premonition of you having a bad business or a bad life. It's just that things can happen. You are still in control and you can deal with them. And you continue with the assumption that your business is going to be successful. A lot of the time we tend to leave our life up to chance. We go through our daily days and do what we need to do, and we just, in our heads, we've never been told anything but that's just life. Oh, that's just how it goes. Oh, you can't do nothing about it. We have grown up with these perceptions in mind, which has been handed down from my parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, teachers, and other people. And we accept it as truth, except that it isn't true. It's truth if you allow life to just happen, or if you want to take control of your life, you can do that merely by thought. Now, at the same time, we were also taught to take control of your life, and to change it, you have to work really hard. You have to be dedicated and disciplined. And although those are true, we still were never taught the importance of how we think when we're trying to achieve something. Now, some of this has naturally come to people over the years. Yeah, so they've naturally thought a certain way. Hence why we have history and text. We've got Neville Goddard, we have Joseph Murphy, Napoleon Hill. You have all these books, all these people that have talked about manifestation and how people throughout history naturally had this knowing or sense that when they want something, it was a belief that they have that brought them to their success and where they are. And that belief is essentially an assumption of that they are going to be successful, that they are going to be rich, or they are going to have this, they are going to have that. Now, I like to say this, people, I know that some people might say, well, I assumed that I was going to be successful, I'm going to be this, and it hasn't happened. Why? Because like everything else, it's never just one thing. There's always going to be elements. So if I assume that I'm going to be successful, but then my thought process is wavering, and every time I'm hit with a brick, I fall down and I focus on being hit by a brick, and I stay there for a while, and then eventually I may get up and I go back on my path, and then I get hit by another brick. And as time goes on, you end up getting used to being hit by bricks, and you end up getting used to focusing on the bricks that hit you. So your life is, instead of going down, I mean, no life is a straight line, but imagine if you got your focuses right ahead of you and all you need to do is just walk straight. Yes, you get things that come across, but you just imagine you're just batting them with the back out of the way. So yes, you're going to deal with them, but your where you're going is just this straight line right in front of you. That is all you're seeing. But when you start focusing on things that don't serve you, that go wrong, that's when the road starts to swerve, because you've taken your direct focus off to the left and you're focusing on this stuff that's happening in your life. Then eventually it might turn to that focus, or sometimes it might skip that main focus and go to the other side, and then you're focusing on that. And then sometimes what happens is we stay on these paths and it wavers from left to right, from right to left. So what's happening is that what we want to achieve, what we want to get, seems so far out of our reach, because what we're doing now, we're taking that focus of what we want, we're wavering it, and the focus turns to a new assumption. Life never works out for me. Things always go wrong. Oh, I never have good relationships. I never can hold a relationship down. Why can't I keep money in my pocket? Money always coming out of my pocket. So what happens when life throws bricks at you, instead of just dealing with it and then regaining focus on or still keeping focus on where you want to go, our assumption of life changes. So if you look at your life that you can never hold money because the assumption is you never have money, that's the assumption that you're telling yourself. That's the assumption that's in your subconscious. So what you have to do is regain that focus and say, no, I always have money. Now, the problem with this is because you've been beaten up by all these bricks, it can feel a lot harder to get back and stay focused and stay on that track, because it's a lot easier now to waver because of life experiences. But if you want to get back on track, on my podcast before this, I spoke to you about having something that you can focus on daily. Do 3 tasks that you want to achieve: cleaning the house, working on your business, working out, calling a friend. Just find 2 or 3 things that you want to do daily, consistently, and maybe a couple of things that you want to do weekly. And you have those focuses to help you regain focus. And out of those things, make sure there's things that you're going to enjoy and make you feel happy. And once you're in that alignment of happiness, help regain your focus back to what you really want to do. So then basically what you're doing is you're trying to get all these different elements that's going to help you back on track. Now, yes, you can just say affirm and just affirm all day. You can do that. And if you can do that, that is great. But let's face it, a lot of us cannot get there where we just go, right, today I'm just going to affirm. I've got all the money I need. All my bills are paid. I'm no longer in debt. I always have more than enough money in my bank account. Every time I go to the bank, I see there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds in my bank account. we can't do that. We can do it for a bit, and then when a brick hits us, we end up focusing on that brick again. And then our life assumption changes again. So I always encourage people that as simple as manifesting can be, we do struggle because we have to deal with all the other elements of our life. So what we have to do is like, how do we deal with these elements? My podcast before, I talked about finding something to regain your focus and make sure there's some happiness in there to help push you back on the track. That will help you with your alignment. And then once you go back on track, and then you focus on the task at hand that you want to accomplish, so then that will also help you keep you on that road. And then on top of that, when you can affirm, visualize, if you can script. I know that it sounds a lot, but what I'm trying to say to you is that if just scripting isn't enough, and visualizing isn't enough, and affirming isn't enough, you need to sit down and say, okay, what do I need to do? What is holding me back? What is causing me problems? What does my brain keep doing? Or every time there's a problem, I have a habit of not only focusing on the problem, creating scenarios that hasn't existed, because I keep assuming the worst thing is going to happen. So then you need to curve that in, and you just take it one step at a time. Find things that will help bring you back to that road of the focus of where you want to go. Now, I'd like to say, listeners, please don't stress the fact that you might need to do a little bit more work to manifest. And I've been online, I've seen people's success stories. They've done these exercises, they've done this and they've done that, and they've manifested 2K, 2.5. They're small amounts, but it was enough for them for what they need at the moment. And obviously, you always read the comment section and you always see that people are still struggling to get there. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with, you just need a little bit more time and a little bit more focus. Don't blame yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. You know what you have to do. The only problem is you're just struggling to get there. It just means you just need to take more steps. Yes, we all wish, oh, why can't I just be like those people, just affirm all day, then get what I affirm? But if you're not there yet, you're not there yet, and you cannot force it, because the more you force it is the more you're going to get more disappointed. Now, as I said, your life, the proof of if a law of assumption works, is the life that you are living. You are assuming that you are unsuccessful. You are assuming you cannot get the job. You are assuming that you'll always be overweight. You are assuming that you're never going to have money. What you tell yourself in your head isn't the same as what your subconscious believes and have you carrying out. That's why it's important to take just action to begin with and do the things almost like a soldier. For you to try and get yourself back on track. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I shall see you next time.